Mount Fuji here in Japan at the Fuji Speedway for the next round of the ISRL Group 3 Season 13, as we see Napoli going for a bit of a spin on the exit curb at turn 1. Not ideal, wouldn't recommend it. Here we are then, it's the 4th round of the season, halfway through, and we're here at Fuji Speedway in Japan. It's near Mount Fuji. See it in the background? That is pretty much the reason we call it Fuji Speedway, because it's near Fuji. There you go. Allow me to just put the stream in the right place. I will put it in nice one. Definitely turn that audio off. So for this on, so just setting everything up. Still checking 10 minutes, change the settings. Right. So yeah, still check obviously in 10 minutes. That will lead into qualifying. So basically that means we're going to be getting qualifying and the stuck check underway as we just watch Hansa go around Fuji. As you can see there, we've got we're doing the layout with the awkward chicane at the end of the lap, which is never really too nice, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not racing, so I'm not all too bothered. Let's have a look at the championship tables, shall we, in Pro? So currently the championship leader is still Wittmann. He managed to hold on to his championship lead after the last round at Interlagos. In second place, 18 points behind the championship leader, is Timmy. He has the win to his name that he got his first win in the feature race at Interlagos. Vitt won the sprint. We got Wizard in third place, only just clear of Retater, who's in fourth. Melod is in fifth place, sixth place Epic Man. A few drivers that might be wanting to improve on their points tally. We've got Holman, who isn't racing, I don't think. We've got Hat Maris down on 37 points. Not too far behind Athens, who himself is not too far off of Stormfly. So there's very much a few championship positions that could very easily change. Zabi down there without the best points tally, only on 30 points, down in 12th place. However, did get a race win. He won the first race, the sprint race in Catalonia, and it would appear, looking at his championship, his season so far has peaked there. That it was not really gone too high anything else throughout the season. And currently, in this little bit of practice before we switch on to the sprint, the stuck check settings, it is Zabi who is leading the way on the pace at the moment up there, with the fastest time of a 36.4, only just quicker than what Wittmann G's done in second place. And even then, Melond not too far off himself. And Stormfly is very close. Athenians by half a second off of Stormfly. There's a bit of a gap there to Timmy, who's second in the championship of its closest rival. Timmy did manage to get his first race win last time they were racing. So we shall see, of course, if Timmy could start to close down that 18-point deficit over the course of this season to really back at him in the championship. But Vitt is a very strong contender. He's already won championships in ISRL in the past. I think he's 2 or 3 in Group 3, so a very rapid driver, and it's been very difficult to take him down once he's in the swing of things, and it appears he is. But anything can happen over the course of this season. There's still half a season to go. We've still got this one to go, and this is where we are in them now here in Fuji. Should be an interesting race. There is a couple of key overtaking spots. Turn 1's going to be the main one, a long straight, which leads into a hard braking zone. We've seen absolutely chaos there at the start of the race. Yes, we've seen absolutely carnage at the start of the race in this one. I might direct you back to Season 5, this was actually the season opener, and it was kind of chaos. There's no real other way to put it other than that. So it was a big impact. It was Ada at the time missed his braking point, slammed into a couple of people, and there was just cars all over the place. Hopefully we won't see such a thing in the actual race. In the stuck check race, I'm sure that is all that we'll see. It'll be a long straight. If you can get in the slipstream, you can actually get them down the inside into first corner. If you're late or brave enough on the braking, it's very much a possibility. You've got another overtaking spot. Realistically, would actually probably be the chicane. It really isn't so easy to overtake on, with it being the chicane. The other version will be a little bit easier. As at the moment, Timmy purple on this lap in practice as he approaches the line. Does he beat the time? And he does not, but he improves himself into 6th place with apparently a 150.8. I don't know quite how that's worked out. That should be maybe a 36.8, sorry, not a 50.8 that it said, but the game's just a little bit buggy, it's all. So yeah, first corner is very much a key overtaking spot. That will be a place to look out for on the track. Into one of them going the turn 6-7 chicane, as we've just watched Athenium go through. That could also be another overtaking spot. If you get the run out of turn 5, you might be able to get them there. And it looks like those are the settings now for yes, these appear to be the actual settings now for the stuck check, which should be getting underway shortly. The one-lap shootout where no holds barred. Oh no, sorry, I miscounted the corners. It's the turns 10 and 11 chicane. Just give me a minute. Right. Yeah, so let's get ready to go then. Everyone's heading out onto the track ready for the stuck check. There we go. So stuck check, as everyone's preparing for the stuck check, as Fitz spins around in front of S10 rest day practices his punt before the start of this stuck check. As the cars are just all over the place as usual. Before we begin with this stuck check, Tay's doing his masterful reversing, trying to become the world's best backwards driver. And Epic Man has face to face and decides, you know what, I think you need a bit of help, and so there we go. Oh, there goes Stormfly flying off, and Tay's taking some experimental lines. Not so sure those lines be allowed in the actual race, but then again, I don't think reversing will be much allowed. Oh, quick! Hans has just decided to try out Fuji in reverse, so we'll run on board with Hansa for a bit as he shows us the track in the reverse direction of Fuji, which doesn't currently exist. That chicane feels so much tighter. It looks so much tighter. I'm saying feels. It's not like I'm doing it. riding up through the corners, the apparent the corners. The track as well is very wide. It is, that tightens right up. Which, to be honest, you would expect, because normally going the right way, the cars are designed to open up on the exit, particularly around this track. So as you're going on this track, they're actually going to tighten up as you go, because they're always, around this circuit, they're tighter on the exit. As they are with a lot of circuits. No, they're tighter on the entry, sorry, not the exit. But when you're going in the reverse direction, it will be the exit. So I don't think it's quicker to do the track in reverse. Some tracks it might be quicker to do them in reverse, but not all of them. And this certainly seems like a track that is slower in the reverse direction. So here we go for the full flying lap on board Hansa at Fuji backward, and we're not going to get a chance to do that because Vit has started the stuck check, which is unfortunate. So I was looking forward to seeing Hansa keep it the beans in the reverse direction of the circuit, but that's clearly not something we're going to be getting. So there's the grid for the stuck check. A couple of them set lap times, but just a couple, not many. So it's a one-lap shootout where you can do whatever you want. It's literally win by any means necessary. There are no rules in the stuck check. The main focus of the stuck check is to make sure everyone get away from the grid. But in ISRL, the stuck checks always ended in disaster, because once people got away from the grid, they decided not to figure out their brains onto turn one. They would smash each other off. And I think that's gradually inspired Vit to create its own little championship, which has its own championship table across both categories. That's right. We turned a no-holds-barred one-lap race into its own little championship. And to be honest, whilst we're doing this, I shall read you out the championship. So who is on top of the Stuck Check Championship after the first 3 rounds, I ask? And it is Stormfly. The highest AM driver is Shellshock, who is in second. In terms of points, it's a 10-point difference between Stormfly and Shellshock looking very good at the moment to be trying to hold on to that championship lead that he has. I believe it was Foxy that won the championship last time. And there it is, the critical curse that happens when you try and cut it, is you get reset and Stormfly's like, well, if you don't succeed, try again, and he tried again, and he failed again. As he seems to be the victim of a lot of people who are struggling with that one there, and Athenium is taking the lead, so it all went undone really for Stormfly. Getting reset multiple times has caused some clear problems, and Athenium looks like he's going to come through to take the lead. And just sort of worked his way through it, so a good job from him. Wins the Stuck Check race. Looks like Vit's going to be in second. Epic Man is in third. Starfly looks to have come off the bat of taking a very wide line. In fifth is Hat Maris. Napoli in sixth. Racer Tay's been just pushed around by Melond, sent into a spin. Well, I was going to say, well, he's not driving a Ferrari, is he? So it's, he was spinning. So in the end, that meant that it was Napoli 6th, Hansa 7th, Racer 8th in the end, still managing to get ahead of Melon, Sabi in 10th, Wizard in 11th, Timmy in 12th, although that could easily change. We'll see who gets the run out the final corner. Very much looks like it's going to be Wizard in 11th, Timmy in 12th, although there's Sabi going backwards across the line. And Wizard and Timmy have both opted for the pit sign, although Wizard's now clawed himself out of the pit lane, as has Timmy. So I don't really know what happened too much there. And Timmy crosses the line. There he is then, there's Athenheim winning the Stuck Check race, but if he can win the actual race, I'm sure that will also be good for him. as Melon says, great race, guys. All's very much a clean race, as Hansa puts it out. We are watching this, but first of all, it's not the normal driving standard of ISRL. It was the slick check race. Now the normal rule has been applied. So the normal sprint race rules have applied, and that means that qualifying will be going up. Yeah, that means we'll be getting qualifying shortly. So that shouldn't be too long till we get qualifying for the 4th round of the ISRL race. Some drivers they're trying to just get a last minute bit of practice. I'm assuming it's going to be a case of that when everyone's ready, we'll be seeing the qualifying for the race. It would look like the qualifying is getting underway soon then, as it's typing, and I think everyone that's racing is in, as there are the groups. It will be Melon, Hatmari, Sabi, Napoli, Hansa in Group 1 along with Athenium. That leaves the likes of Timmy, Tear, Wizard, Epic Man and Stormfly in Group 2. And so the qualifying gets underway. So if you're new here and you're not aware of how our qualifying works, the groups that we've just been read out, the first group will obviously go out first, and then once everyone on Group 1 has started their flying lap, Group 2 will go out. You want to get the one shot at this? This is one shot qualifying. So we'll see who opts to go first here at the Fuji Speedway, if anyone at all. And of course, sure enough, Group 1's going out, and it looks like it's Melon that's going to be leading us away. On top of this, slipstreaming is banned, so that on the one lap you have, you're not allowed to be too close to the drivers in front, or you will get a slipstream. So I'm sure over the course of this outlap, you'll see the drivers start to space themselves out. You'll see drivers backing off. As we see Hatmaris, they're going a little bit slower into turn 1 to make sure you don't get too close to the cars in front. And then Sabi positioning himself nicely at the back of everyone, so he can go as slow as he likes, because he's not going to worry about drivers behind. Napoli as well is nicely spaced out. And I'm sure Hansa and Melon and Athenium will start to slow down as the lap goes on. And we'll be seeing Melon, who will be taking the first flying lap of the day. So yeah, and they get one lap, and that will determine the grid for the sprint race. So it'll be a short 10-minute-ish race in laps, of course, to see who gets the bet. And so yeah, the better your one lap, the higher you start. It's as simple as that. And so it's going to be crucial to make sure you get the start of the lap perfect, and technically the lap starts from here, because you need to get the good run out of the final corner as we ride on board with Melon here, as he gets on the power as early as possible to start building up through the speed, because it's a long straight. You want to keep it to the outside and not really turn the wheel too much to scrub off speed. As we approach charging down the main straight, look at the adoring fans, wave at them as you drive past them, and start thinking about the braking zone, because your lap technically is now started. Where does he brake? Quite late, just before the 100 board, doesn't get it slowed down, chooses almost like he was going to choose to keep it in second there. It seemed tidy through turn 1. How quick through the second corner as well, as you approach now the third corner, relatively quick flick left. Keep seeing it in 4th gear on the exit, instead of dropping down to 3rd. Comes fully off the throttle to roll it round, so not dropping down to 3rd still though, as it gives the order for Group 2 to go out. speed. It's a really wide track, and I'm sure you want to use as much of the track as possible as we head down toward the turns 10 and 11 chicane toward Dunlop, all the way down to first, staying away from that inside curb that might have compromised his run through 11 and into 12. Then you get into 13th, which is the name of the 13th corner. Very creative naming in Japan as usual. Keeps it tight to the line, doesn't want to swing it too far out into 14. The final corner now at turn 16 Panasonic, and then you ride it out the final corner down the main straight again, and that will be the lap from Melon. How quick will it be? Will it be enough to stay him on pole position? And the time that they're all chasing is a 37.3. What about Hansa? What can Hansa do? Is he up on Melon's time? No, he's not. After 9, has he gone up on the time? He's gone quicker than Hansa into second place. How about Napoli? What's Napoli done? Napoli does take the pole at the moment. Next up is Zabi, the final one from Group 1, and he goes 6 tenths clear with a 36.4 from Zabi. Napoli on it, and Maris sets a 38.2. And goes for the back of the field at the moment. So it's Zabi with a 36.4. Napoli a bit slower, about a 36 or a 37. It's not really showing me the lap times, unfortunately. But Wizard is now going to be starting the lap one with the Group 1 drivers to go out, and he's going to leave Zabi on pole. Now he knows what time he's going to want to be chasing. Does he have what it takes to beat it? Does he? He takes it quicker than that 36.4. It's a very impressive lap from Zabi, so it won't surprise me if it was a bit difficult to beat. Keeps it tied. You do not want to drive across that green exit curb out of the first corner. Wizard, however, unlike Melon, as we saw Wizard's downshifting toward third to get through 100R. And runs very wide on the exit of turn 7. Runs very wide indeed. Now charging down toward Dunlop. I wonder how much time that might have cost him running wide there. It's difficult to tell. You want to very much favour the throttle for me. You do not want to just stand on it, lose control. I think a lot of these drivers not using traction control. Not that it's banned or anything. Runs wide again, running off the track. That Porsche seems a bit difficult to handle through this twisty final sector. A lot of time can be gained through as he picks up a 1.5 second penalty. That's Wizards qualifying all but over. What about Recite? Recite not got a penalty, and that's an improvement, of course, as he charges around toward the final corner now. Tries to get the run out of the final corner and onto the main straight. Look toward the line. Has he got what it takes to take the provisional pole? Is Wizard going to cross the line, burning off his penalty and goes slowest of anyone? What about Recite? Recite goes only second. Epic Man, so the next driver to cross the line, he goes 6th. And then I think it's Vit who goes also second. And it is Stormfly crosses the line to go third, and now TGL Timmy will be the last person to cross the line for qualifying. He's got everyone's times on the board, so this will be an indication as to where he is, and he's going in at a 37.2. A 37.2 sees him go 6th. So it is TX3 KZ Azabi on the pole position for this first Fuji race. So yeah, Zabi on the pole position. He's only 2 tenths clear of Vit in the end. Stonefly got up into third, Recite down to 4th. He was initially into that second place and on the front row, but he was ultimately relegated down to the second row. Napoli, the other KZR driver in this division, is in 5th place. Timmy in 6th. Melond 7th. 8th place Athenheim. 9th Epic Man. 10th Hansa. Hat Maris in 11th, and a very difficult lap from Wizard 39.3 in the end, a whole second behind Hat Maris. It just seemed to look like the lap was a handful for him in that Porsche, and it just didn't seem to work for him. And then the penalty at the end really cost him lap time, and so he's going to have quite the charge through the field. His Wizard, I can expect him to see a lot of overtakes from him as he tries to come back through the field as much as possible. The reason they're driving so slowly is because the AI is taken over, because they crossed the line after the timer ran out, but it's all good. So yeah, then we see Zabi in the Viper, and the Viper on pole position. It's definitely not his first pole of the season. I know for a fact that he had pole in Catalonia. Not sure if he's had pole anywhere else, but we'll see. He does get the point for pole position. We'll see if he can capitalise on this pole position and win the race. Now, you can overtake on this track, so it's not like just because he's got pole that it's a certainty that he can just run off into the distance and hold it, because he knows he will be challenged. He's got some quick drivers behind him. Vit, Stormfly, who had an impressive qualifying in third, Racer Taze there as well, and Timmy down in sixth. What can Wizard do from the back of the pack? Will Maris be able to find more pace in that qualifying shot? All questions that will be answered right now, actually, as the ISRL Group 3 Season 13 Round 4 Fuji sprint race is underway. Then you can see Zabi on the pole position, Vit sharing the front row with him, Vit getting the inside line there. All the even numbers will have the inside, so if they can draw themselves alongside, they will be able to try and send it down the inside under braking. The lights come on now, ready to signal the start of this sprint race. We've got 7 laps. And it's lights out, and away we go, and there's a lot of wheel spin smoke off the line. Some drivers didn't get off too well. Vitman G just tucks in behind Zabi, managed to get away well. There's Resate immediately trying to cover off the inside. There's Timmy in the background, you can see getting very aggressive, looking for a move there. Napoli having a fantastic start in the fourth, and I think Restate's just been swamped there. They all look to have navigated the first corner fine, and now Resate immediately, is he going to try and find his way ahead of Stormfly? No, not quite. We've got Epic Man, and Timmy's going to try it around the outside of Epic Man. There's a bit of contact, and there's a lot more contact, and I think Wizard, who's trying to find his way up through the field, ended up having an instant, but he's just about managed to hang on there. There's a penalty for Timmy in the end, and that's unfortunate for him. He had a very bad sprint race last time out, and into Lagos, and there's contact between Athenium and Wizard, and Epic Man looks to just pick up the pieces and clean their way through as Timmy spins it up on the traction. There's a lot of carnage going on at the back of this field. Meanwhile, if we jump up to lead, we've got Sabi, who's just leading Vit, and they all trundle around into a single file line. The top 7 split by just 3 seconds. They're all very close to each other, as you can see. Top 6 are just in this sort of train at the moment as they just follow the way through the final sector. If you're willing to send it down the inside under braking, Tay taking a very wide line compared to the drivers around him, and it almost looked like that cost him a position to Melon, who's looking very racy in the background. He's very much all over the back of him. What can he do though? Restain the slipstream now. He's got a mega slipstream from all the cars in front, and they're all going to be tucking up, and it's going to be Zabi who's going to be the sitting duck out there. But that Viper might just have the legs over the Peugeot behind it. What about Napoli, Stormfly and Restain and Melon, who are also very close? I think Stormfly pulls to the inside. Nolan choosing to go inherently defensive. Stormfly gets on the inside under braking, but he's outbroke himself massively. Goes very much deep, and now he's on the outside of Napoli. And then Stormfly's attempt to overtake, it's immediately had to turn straight back into a defence, cuts back in the inside, and it's Melon who's managed to squeeze his way through Resate there. Resate dropped down to that 6th place. He started 4th, and he very much just looks to have been swamped on the start of this race. Will he be able to just find a groove, settle himself in, and start gaining some of these positions back that he's lost? And in fact, it looks like he's doing it now around the outside at turn 6. It immediately turns into turn 7, still on the outside, and he's got the inside now for turns 8 and 9. The slight kinks on the road as you go down the hill through turn 9. They go. Rest is still holding the inside into turn 10. Are they going to keep the inside? Yes, he does hold the inside, and Melon slots back but tries to get the cut back into turn 11, but not quite enough there. Resate, that battle lost him a little bit of time to Stormfly, but a fantastic overtake there from Resate to find his way past. Was very much committed to that one. Zabi then being reeled in slightly by the championship leader, Hitman G. Not necessarily the name you want to see behind you, but it looks like Zabi's just holding out a second clear at the moment of it, with Napoli in third place. Fourth is Stormfly, who's all over the back of Napoli, and I'm sure he's going to be wanting to try again. Sat right on that rear wing, getting the slipstream as it increases his straight line speed. Napoli this time catches wise grip, moves to the inside to defend, shows Stormfly the long way around, but Stormfly is clearly up to the challenge of going around the outside of Napoli. Breaks a little bit later, but manages to just hold on there and just about holds on to that position, with Napoli in third. Fourth is Stormfly. So Napoli defending the position beautifully there. I think we've seen Napoli do some, we're hearing about Napoli and Zabi did some incredible defending in the past, and it looks like they're going to have to doing that again. And with Napoli's got quite a few drivers on the back of him now as they all fall around. Resete into fifth place, and because of the battle between Stormfly and Napoli, they've gone up really far onto the back of him now. Can Resete find his way ahead of Stormfly like he got ahead of Melond? Is he going to go for it on the inside into turn 10? No one's quite going for the move. It has indeed been a while, hasn't it, Hobo? There are some new names in this field, and they're all very much up to the challenge of racing. As Stormfly then on the back of Napoli. Nice to see you, of course, in the chat, Hobo. I hope you're enjoying this one. It's very much an interesting race. These drivers are all so close to each other, and I think just a little bit of a moment from Napoli. Stormfly might have the opportunity. He's pretty much side by side as he run out the hill. Melon's going for a move down the inside of Resete and all of this, and he's very much trying it. Now, they're all very close to each other, all very much getting the slipstream off each other, and I'm sure if one moves across, they'll all fight for that slipstream. Here we go then, Napoli leads this 4-car train. Is it going to be enough to pull off? Napoli goes to the inside defensively. Stormfly's again going to try the outside. Is Resete going to make it 3 wide? Is Tay going to be committed to the inside? Yes, he is. Very much tried the inside, and he's gotten down the inside of both of them. Napoli and Stormfly, but then Tay's been pushed out of the way a little bit, and now Tay getting a bit of a mistake. Napoli still holds on to that position. Stormfly might be getting a little bit restless now. Melond all over the back, but it's still not quite close enough. That was very nearly a brave double overtake from Resete, but it ultimately massively backfired as they all had a big kerfuffle in the first corner. Meanwhile, these 4 drivers are all still very close. They've still not had a major accident. They're getting the run out of turn 6 into 7, but not quite close enough for him just yet. Melond is still on the back of Stormfly now. Resete tried his attempt to get past Stormfly. Is Melond going to try and get past Stormfly? Not into turn 10. The Stormfly did leave the door open a bit. Melond almost looked like he was poking his way through there. So Melond nearly looks like he was poking his way through at turn 10, but ultimately thought wide of it not to get the Dutchman at turn 10 then, as they rise their way up and down as they go down, just to go back up again as they reach at the final corner. Melon's going for the move. He almost looked like he was making a move on Resete there on the last lap, but that's massively compromised his run as he runs wide on the exit. Now Tay's got the opportunity to come back at Melon, and all this has brought Hansa and Wizard right onto the back of them. Resete does indeed get ahead, but now Melon switched to the inside again to try and find his way back, but ultimately gets into the slipstream, not quite close enough for a move. Anyone in the top in these 4 positions yet? Stormfly's not gone for the overtake on Napoli, but he's managed to hold it. We've got Hansa and Wizard, who are all very close at the moment. So we've got now then so we've still got Napoli holding on to this 3rd place. It's 4th for Stormfly, 5th for Resete, Melon in 6th place. Now Hansa's joining on the party, and Wizard started at the back after a bit of a scruffy lap in qualifying. Had a bit of an incident at the start with Alpha 9, but he's managed to get his head down and is now catching on to this battle, which has now grown from 4 cars to 6 cars. And any one of these could change positions yet in the final 3 laps that we have of this sprint race. Resete managing to get very close onto the back of Stormfly. Is he going to go for it? No, not quite close enough there. So Resete does not go for the overtake on Stormfly on this occasion. That Alfa Romeo, will it have the straight line speed over the Porsche to get him on the straights? He's very much close in the slipstream, but Napoli is also there. Remember, Ted tried it down the inside, tried a very brave move down the inside of both of them, but I think just broke a little bit too late, and they all managed to cut back, get ahead of him, and he lost the position to Melond in the process. Stormfly needs to try. They need to try and get this exit right out of this final corner, leading them onto the straight. Here we go then. It's short time, and on the straight, here they go, all in the slipstream, so they'll all be bunching up, and the gaps around them are coming down. Is Stormfly going to be close enough to go for the move again? Does Napoli choose to go defensive? Yes, he does go defensive. The cross line start lap 6. Stormfly doesn't fully move over to cover the inside from Reste. Reste himself tried the inside on one occasion, now he's going to try the outside. They got 3 wide into the braking zone. Ter tries to get down the outside of both of them. Doesn't quite work. There was a bit of a tap there between Stormfly and Reste, but now Ter's still committed to the inside into turn 3. A slight braking zone, but is it going to be enough? Not quite. Ted tried it down the inside, and now he's Melon going to get the run around the outside at turns 5. At turns 4 and 5. Around the outside, no, he does not quite try, but it's Tay who gets the exit out turn 4 and turn 5, and does he go down the inside at 6? No, not quite close enough. Not quite close enough to go for the move down the inside at turn number 6. So here we go, he's going to be close enough. He seems really close on the back. He's sat on the rear bumper. He's opted for the outside at turn 10, and it'll bring him the inside at turn 11 if he can keep the car there, but it looks like he's ran just a little bit wide, and that almost allowed Milon to the opportunity. They are running out of time if they want this podium place, and I'm sure they all want this podium place. Even Wizard, who's managed to make his way ahead of Hansa. And so then, here we go. Napoli's just losing time and time. He's now 5, nearly 6 seconds behind Zabi, who leads this race comfortably with it in 2nd place. But here we go. They're all trying again as they head on to the final laps. They're going to run out of opportunities. Realistically, this might just be the last chance that they get at making an overtake. So it's Tay going to be close enough to go for the overtake here. Again, he's gaining it in the slipstream. He's tried the inside to get past both of them. He's tried the outside to get past both of them. Maybe he's going to just have to settle for getting past one of them. Although he's not quite gone for it there. No one's really gone for the move. It almost looked like he was trying to spring a surprise at the inside at the last minute, but no one had gone for it there. And honestly, what a defensive drive from Napoli. That is a lot of cars to be seen behind you, and he's coped with the pressure brilliantly. Just held on and hasn't made a single, not really too many mistakes. He made a bit of contact with some drivers when they were going 3 wide into that corner at turn 1. But it's good enough. Melon takes a wider line on the exit there down the rest of them, it seems. So it's interesting to see the line that they take. Now, is he going to go for a last-ditch attempt to get ahead of Stormfly and to take 4th place? How desperate will he be for that position? Is he going to go for it? Melon, they're all so close to each other, but no one's quite going for it yet. Into the final sector on the final time of this sprint race, and now Wizard is right on the bumper of Melon. But meanwhile, we have to cut up to front because heading into the final corner, he's not really seen anyone all race after the start. 2 seconds ahead of Wittmann Jean. He's done a fantastic job, and in the end, coming up toward the line out the final corner for the final time, it's going to be KSR Zabi who comes toward the line and wins the sprint race here in Fuji. As you can see in the background, that battle is going all the way down to the wire. And is anyone going to make a last grasp overtake? I think they're just going to cross the line in a line with it in 2nd. 3rd place Napoli, 4th Stormfly, 5th Reste, 6th Melon, 7th Wizard, 8th Hansa, and what a battle in the end. Position Eppenman line in 9th, 10th for Affenheim, Timmy in 11th, and bit of a shame for Hatmarish, just seems a little bit off pace this weekend, down in 12th place. Timmy, we saw him have a difficult sprint race into Lagos. He pulled it back after a fantastic performance in the feature race, and he's going to have to hope for the same. But Zabi gets his 2nd win of the season. And so, yep, there it is. Zabi getting his 2nd win of the season, backing up his race victory that he acquired in the very first race of the first round back in Catalonia, and he did it in similar style. Was on pole position and managed to hold his lead for the entirety of the sprint race. Then that also books his ticket to the back of the field in the feature. Here we go then, those were your official results. In the end, it was Zabi that banged in the race victory. Wittmann Jean 2nd, the championship leader. Probably a good job. His closest title rival was down in 11th, so a difficult race for the man 2nd in the championship. But Napoli with an incredible defensive job with 5 or 6 cars behind him the whole race. did a great job to come home in third. Fourth was Stormfly, not able to find his way through, as well as Gr.3, Melond, Wizard and Haunter, who are all very close. Epic Man 9th after 9, 10th. Timmy 11th, 12th Hat Maris, and the fastest lap went on lap 5 to Wizard with a 36.4. He got the bonus point for that lap. So then a 10-minute break, and I shall be right back. So, I'm back. Yeah, so we now await the feature race. It's still on the sprint race settings, but I'm sure eventually Vit will change over the right on cue. Maybe he heard me. Yeah, so here we are then with the feature race settings. So the feature is a longer race, 22 laps to be exact. There is fuel and tyre wear is now enabled, and you must use both softs and medium tyres at some point during the race. So the longer race strategy is involved now, along with the insane wheel-to-wheel racing that we've seen previously, and so it shall be a very interesting race. Also, the grid is now reversed, so basically whoever won the race is now starting at the back, and and vice versa. So the driver who finished last now gets pole position. So there's that constellation, which will be Hat Maris on the pole. Did save the replay, right? Well, I did now. So yeah, we get to see what strategy the drivers are employing, and that's always fun. So we'll now see some of the drivers we're starting on the softs. We've seen before that the more common strategy appears to be starting the race on the medium tyres. However, we have seen people in the past do the split strategy, and Timmy in Interlagos made it work brilliantly. Started on the soft tyres, pulled out a huge lead early on over everyone else on the mediums, did a fantastic job there, and then managed to pull his hold that far ahead that whenever he pitted in, he still came out in the lead for the mediums on his one stint of mediums, and then would go softs at the end. So if you can make it work, the softs can be an option to start with. However, most people do tend to favour starting on the medium tyres, but the alternate strategy is very much there, and it's worked in the past a couple of times, but it could also go very badly wrong. I think really determined for the starting on softs to work, you need to have a good first stint. You need to be able to capitalise on the pace you will get on the soft tyres compared to that of everyone else on the mediums. So it can work, but it's very dependent. With the mediums, everyone seems to be running on the mediums, and then that means you've already done the medium stint. So as such, you would not need to be doing any other stuff. You can just run the softs to the end after your first stint. So that's good news. Anyway, so here we are then. Same track, bit later in the day, so shadows will have moved, so anyone using shadows as their reference points for braking now has to come up with a new reference point for braking. As we just await the race. I'm sure it'll be getting underway shortly once everyone's ready. So quick tyre check at the moment. Obviously people can still change what tyres they're on, but currently we've got Vit running on the medium tyre, we have Melon running on the medium tyre, Hansa is also on the medium tyre. I see Vit is still using his infamous, yep, Vitmanji is still showing off his unwavering loyalty to Peugeot. Zabi on the medium tyre as well, Wizard is on the medium tyre, Napoli on the mediums. Timmy is again trying his soft tyre strategy. Now the soft tyres could work for him because he is starting toward the front of the field in this feature due to the reverse grid. Epic Man, another driver who looks like he might be trying the softs. Stormfly currently on the soft tyres, Adresite on the mediums. It could be a chance that those that are on the softs haven't changed it yet, will still change it, but currently that is what they're running. So yeah, there is always the chance that, like, I don't know, Epic Man might make a last minute change onto the soft tyres, onto the medium tyres, sorry, to start the race on. But it generally they'll change it before they go out onto the track to just make sure so on. Now I get to see who the master of strategy is. And also, the cars do not start the race on a full tank. Initial fuel is enabled, and I don't know if you saw it when Svit changed the settings, but for this one, the initial fuel is set to 95%, so they will have 95% of their full tank in the fuel, which I think is 95 litres of fuel in the car, which might miss out on a lap or two. But that keeps strategy interesting, so yeah. So that will keep the strategy very much interesting, and we'll see how this will affect things in the race. So yeah, Vic currently set the fastest lap on the mediums, Hansa on mediums as well, currently second. Not everyone set time at the moment, only the 3 drivers have set time. What about the sprint race winner? Well, slightly slower. From what I've seen, Zabi seems to struggle a bit more in the feature than he does the sprint. So he did a great job in qualifying and in the sprint, and I feel that might be his strengths as a driver, which there's nothing wrong with. Obviously we can't all be perfect, so it'll be interesting to see what Zabi does as well, because with the sprint he starts at the back of the field, so he will have to, if he wants to have a good result, he's going to have to make his way through the field, and it's not like everyone's going to stop and let him through. They will probably fight him on, and we'll see some more epic battles throughout the race, which we should hope so, because these races are a bit longer and we don't want it to get stale. What can Timmy do from the front of the grid? I believe it's Timmy and Hap Maris that will be starting as the front two, but despite the pole start for the feature, Hap Maris has still opted for the medium tyre, it looks at the moment, whereas Timmy, who will be starting second, will be starting on the soft, so he'll be looking to have a really quick first stint and try to run away. Try to replicate what he did in Interlagos en route to his first ISRL race victory. And meanwhile we get to see if the 4 or 5 drivers that entertained us throughout the sprint race, like some Melon, Gr.3. In fact, now that I think about it, Melon and Gr.3 always seem to be racing. Like, they were fighting hard in Interlagos, and then they're fighting hard here, and I think they were actually fighting hard in Catalonia now that I think about it. So Melon and Gr.3 always seem to be racing each other. I don't know why, but they just do. So we'll see if they end up doing that again. And it looks as though the feature is about to begin. So 22 laps of this track, a lot of a longer race. We'll see how it goes. We'll see who will master the strategy over the course of this one. As well as this, as you can see, the cars are lined up for their rolling start. No one's starting in a corner, they're all on the straight, due to the start-finish line being quite a long ways up the straight. But there we have it then. Hap Maris on pole, Timmy second, and Athan Naim in the third position. So yeah, Hap Maris will be starting this race on the medium tyres, Timmy opting for the softs, and Athan Naim also on the softs, so it will be an interesting strategy decision for them there. As the AI game auto drives them toward the line, and then just as Hap Maris crosses the line, the race will begin now. It's go, 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 and the drivers take over. Hap Maris immediately pulls over. Interesting strategy there from Hap Maris. So Timmy immediately taking the lead of this race. Timmy in the lead, then Athan Naim in second place. There's a lot of shuffling going on. Is anyone going to go for a move down the inside into the first corner? I think Napoli's very much going to look like he's getting down the inside of Stormfly. He's got Tay on his outside, as I think Tay just started in front of him actually, and so Napoli, who spent all of the sprint race defending, is now going to have to spend it attacking. So Napoli in 8th place, Stormfly in 7th, 6th place Melon, 5th Wizard. Then so Timmy takes the lead after it seemed like Hap Maris just sort of gave up, and the top 4 are all on the soft tyres. So Epic Man, Hansa, Athan Naim and Timmy all started on the softs, and they're all going to now want to try and break away from the field. They're on the opposite strategy. We've got Wizard on at the mediums, Melon on the mediums, Stormfly on the softs. He's trying to come through the field. He's got the run on him as they head down toward turn 10 now. Under braking, does Stormfly get down the inside? He's very close, but I think almost hitting the back of Wizard as he went through, but does find his way through. It almost looked like he had a bit of a mistake then. Sabi's finding some positions as well now. The race winner in the sprint tear has seemingly just dropped back at the start of this one. So a bit unfortunate for him. Sabi moves his way into 9th place. He started in 12th place. He's moved up into 9th, and he's going to want to continue that push forward. Now Stormfly already on the back of the other Porsche of Wizard, and he's in the slipstream now. 2 Porsches, their cars are going to be exactly the same, aside from the fact that they're on different compounds. Stormfly pulls to the inside, Wizard makes seemingly no attempt at defending, and that's Zabi in the pits already, and we see Stormfly moving down the inside. We've seen Napoli on the outside of Melon in the background, and Wizard braking a little bit earlier than Stormfly, and Stormfly gets through. Napoli managed to find his way ahead of Melon as well, and Vit clear of Gr.3. Hap Maris is in the pits on lap 1 as well, so Zabi didn't fill up, but he did change onto softs. They've immediately gotten rid of that medium set of tyres, so interesting strategy. We've seen it done before with drivers pit on the first lap, and we've seen it with 2 of them now to fill the car up. I think maybe from Hap Maris has, but Zabi has not. He's just removed those medium tyres, and now they can use softs the whole distance of the race. Hansa and Epic Man going side by side. Epic Man looking to find his way through on Hansa. Honda's home race, of course, in Japan, as Epic Man driving that Honda. And under braking for turn 10, they all slow it down well. and they managed to pull away. So there we go. So Timmy leads this race still, just clear of Athenium though. And into Lagos, he just started to pull away after, I think it was a battle with Stormfly early on. Epic Man in first. Stormfly's managed to get himself up. So the drivers that started on the soft tyres now have made their way into the top 5 positions. The highest medium tyre honour is Wizard, and so that is something you'll want to keep at the end of the race, because that could put him in a good position to win this race. Napoli just holding on against Melon. Melon looks like he might be trying to make the overtake now. Is he going to be close enough? And he does pull to the inside. Napoli not necessarily trying to defend that one, but Melon is on the inside. Melon down the inside. Does he get him under braking? Yes, he does, but Napoli actually just now breaks him. And Napoli tries to drive it around the outside, but Melon has got this, and Melon makes the move, and he gets ahead. Now, will Napoli fight back? Napoli spent most, and he very much does. He darts down the inside into turn 3, and he's hit Melon. Melon goes off, and I think Napoli's been given a penalty for corner cutting, and Vic just says, thank you very much for taking both of your positions. And now Gr.3 gets past Napoli, so it was a very desperate attempt to retake the position in a corner you don't normally overtake, and it's gone very badly for Napoli now. Zabi and Hatmaris, they're the only drivers who have pitted in, and Zabi is making inroads. He's actually gaining in on the leaders of Timmy. If he can get himself within their pit window, it would be a fantastic moment for Zabi that could put him ahead of them and maybe even in a contention to be leading this race. Gr.3 now all over the back of Napoli. Napoli found his way ahead. Now Te's got to try and find his way ahead of Napoli again. But a very bad move from Napoli to try and get ahead of Melon, who made it seem like he was just very desperate. But Gr.3, who spent pretty much the entire race behind Napoli in the sprint, will know how hard it's going to be to overtake Napoli, but I'm sure he's going to give it his best shot. We'll see if he can this time. Te's just got Napoli in front instead of multiple cars in front of him. He's just got Napoli in front instead of a car between him and Napoli, so maybe Te will be able to find his way through on this occasion. Does Napoli go defensive? Not quite. He's very much in the slipstream, but Napoli not opting to go defensive. Te's gonna go for it down the inside under braking, and that was a fantastic move from Gr.3. An incredible overtake there from Gr.3 to get ahead of Napoli down the inside under braking into the first corner. And now is Napoli going to try it again, what he did to Melon on the lap before, but this time he's caught wise to it and knows that's not going to work. But he did look like he was going to definitely try that, but didn't, but ultimately chose not to do it. So Wittmann's managed to move up into 7th place. Meanwhile at the front, the top, as Wizard drops 3.3 seconds behind, so that's the gap that running on the mediums compared to the softs with the drivers in front is causing, and they're just losing time as we catch Epic Man and Stormfly very nearly hitting each other. They're getting very close, but just about managing to avoid. Stormfly dives it down the inside. Epic Man gives him the space on the inside, and Stormfly, what a move! That caught even me off guard, as Epic Man clearly saw it coming in somewhere, and they must have been using the radar or something, and allowed Stormfly to have the space down the inside, and a fantastic overtake into turn 15. Meanwhile, Athenium, Hansa and Timmy very close to each other at the moment, just about a second thereabouts covers the top 3. Hansa is looking quicker at this top 3 at the moment by quite some way. Timmy chooses to go defensive, putting Hansa on the outside line into the first corner, but that's not enough. Hansa tries to switch back, does he? But no, not quite close enough there. And so Hansa not managed to get ahead of Timmy in for the lead, but Hansa's going to try into turn 3. No, he does not. I don't think Hansa's seen what Napoli did, but he got wise to it anyway into turn 3. Knew that was not the key place to be getting an overtake done. Stormfly and Epic Man appear to have dropped back a bit, not only from the top 3 but in toward the clutches of Wizard on those medium tyres. And Epic Man and Stormfly still going side by side, and they're really not giving anyone any space. They do not want to be losing the position, but Stormfly's had to concede the position with the penalty. that is very much going to bring Wizard into play, who's managed to have a 2-second gap over the next medium tyre runner of Vitman G at the moment. Meanwhile, Napoli, in fact Zabi's had a fantastic race. He's managed to clear both Tate and Napoli, and on the soft tyres as well, so he's a pit stop clear of Napoli, and as Tate and Zabi's making inroads toward the race leaders. But what can Reste still struggling to find his way ahead of Napoli here as they continue to do battle. Wizard is actually very close. He's within a second of Stormfly. He might just get a bit of a tour down the main straight. Stormfly overtook Wizard earlier on. Meanwhile, at the front, Timmy's managed to pull the gap out to Hansa and Athanaim, and Athanaim in the back of Hansa, but doesn't quite pull to the inside. He's very, very close. He wants to leave it to the latest possible opportunity before pulling out down the inside. In fact, it's Hansa who's gone close to Timmy, and they all bunched right up at the first corner. There was nearly contact between Hansa and Timmy there. And now Timmy making sure there isn't an inside gap. Timmy then moves across. Hansa moves across again into turn 3. There was rather questionable defending, I think, from Timmy. There were multiple moves being across the track. Rather questionable defence plan there from Timmy. And I don't think Hans will be too happy about that sort of weaving around the track there as he head through turns 2 into 3. But now Athanaim, all over the back of Hansa. Is he going to be able to be close enough for a move? Not quite from that far back. I realise to get the move done, you pretty much need to be side by side heading into the breakdown to get the move done there, and they very much were not. But Wizards lost a lot of time to Stormfly at the moment. Over a second a lap quicker, it seems, the soft tyres are compared to the mediums, although on that last lap wasn't the best lap to represent, but the fastest lap was a 37.4 on the softs. Wizards fastest lap a 38.6, 38.3 from Vitman G, 37.8 actually from Epic Man, but he is on the softs and he's dropped back quite considerably. I didn't even notice that. I don't know what's happened there, but now Zabi on the soft tyres, 37.666, and he is very much on a charge. He's cleared Melond, and now it looks like he's going to be about to clear Epic Man into the first corner. There is Wizard in the pits on the mediums, as has Vitman, followed him in. Epic Man and Zabi down the inside of Epic Man into the first corner. Didn't even need the corner, he got him on the main straight. So Zabi's overtaken all these people who haven't stopped, and he has pitted in. Meanwhile, up front, Hansa just dropped back from Timmy a little bit, with Hansa and Athanaim very much close in behind them. I think Timmy's just that little bit, he's been a bit more pressured this time. He's got a bit more of a fight in his hands than he did at the stage in the Interlagos race, but I think he's managed to see off the competition so far. If he can continue to do that, he might have a decent race in store, and he might be able to pick up another feature race win. As Hansa almost looked like he was very much under pressure from the super driver. You can see the 3 position lights indicating that Athanaim very much is in 3rd place. As we see, we've got Zabi and Epic Man very close to each other, but it looks like Zabi's just got the pace over him. Although on that last lap for Zabi, a 37.7, a 45.2 from Epic Man, so very much a mistake must have been made on that lap that saw him drop so far back. Napoli on the mediums, now the highest medium tyre runner, I believe. Stormfly has dropped into a bit of no man's land at the moment, although Athanaim pulls to the inside on Hansa, I think, as Hansa actually calls into the pits, so that promotes Athanaim into 2nd place. But Stormfly in a bit of no man's land at the moment, 4 seconds clear of Zabi, but also 4 seconds behind Athanaim, and whilst he's losing time to Zabi, he's also losing time to Athanaim, so I don't think he'll be in no man's land for much longer, unless of course he pits. But Stormfly's just running his own race at the moment. Had a battle with Epic Man early on and has now filtered out into what is now 3rd position, but top 3 yet to pit. Epic Man hasn't pitted, Napoli hasn't pitted, Reste's not pitted, Wizard has pitted, Hansa has pitted as he's come out in 9th place and has actually been jumped by Wizard, and Hansa is on the slower tyre. So Hansa now on the mediums, Wizard now on the softs, and has not been pitted, and so he's been jumped by Hans has been jumped by Wizard in the pits and is now right with Vit, and so Wizard's looking good. Sabi's all the way up to 4th and has already made his pit stop. Lost a bit of time to Stormfly somewhere, I think, but he's managed to claw that one back. It wouldn't surprise me we start seeing some of the other drivers pitting in, the likes of Timmy, to try and cover off that undercut attempt from Hansa. I feel like Athenaeum, well, Athenaeum's got the flashing red light of doom on his fuel layer, so he's definitely going to be called into the pits to make sure he's got the fuel to keep going in the race, and it looks like he is going into the pits. Starfly continuing, Zabi obviously continuing or not, he's daled in for his second stop. Epic Man following him in, Napoli continuing on. I don't think he has pitted, but he's surely going to be in the next couple of laps. Reciter staying out again. We know Reciter likes to favour the one stop in these feature races. It gets him a higher track position toward the end of the race, but on much more worn tyres, and it wouldn't surprise me if Tay went for that one stop again. Has Athenaeum gotten out ahead of Hansa and ahead of Wizard? He's not gone ahead of Wizard. Hansa gets down the inside of Vit, forcing Vit the outside into the first corner, and Athenaeum has very much gone ahead of Hansa from what I believe might be a net 3rd place at the moment. Zabi now comes out behind this lot again, but just ahead of Mellard. So Zabi in 9th place then after his second pit stop, but he's putting a bit more fuel, and I'm sure he will be pitting in multiple times still. Here comes Hansa and Vit in 8th and 7th place. Very close to each other. Vit has managed to find his way ahead of Hansa, although it looks like Hansa's fine back on the outside. Vit's shown him the outside, not wanting to give this one up, and he's managed to do it. As Vit gets ahead of Hansa and stays ahead of Hansa for now. Meanwhile, Athenaeum is really starting to lose out to Wizard, so these drivers that started on the softs are now paying the price of having to run the mediums, and a lot more cars running the soft tyres, and it looks like Tay might be about to be promoted into leaders. Napoli, Timmy and Stormfly are all in the pits. Tay continuing on, and I expect to see him in a one-stop, so he will definitely be pitting within the next couple of laps he's doing. The fuel saving to get there, and Tay has now taken the lead of this race, but I believe the only driver yet to make a pit stop in this race. How about Timmy? What's Timmy done? He's actually been jumped by Stormfly, so Stormfly's gone out ahead of Timmy somehow, putting in a lot less fuel. I wonder whether that was a mistake from Stormfly, whether he meant it. Crucially though, Timmy's come out ahead of Wizard. And on the soft tyres is Timmy, so he's putting off his medium tyre stint, knowing how close Wizard is to him, and he's going to want to try and continue to fight Wizard and to hold on to what will be this race lead. But it's gotten very interesting. Now Stormfly has jumped Timmy in the pits because he's put significantly less fuel on. I wonder if we'll see him in another couple of laps. I believe he did a similar thing. Made an extremely short medium stint. Started on the softs, went relatively long, did about 4 laps on the mediums, and then went softs the rest of the way. Didn't necessarily pan out in the most ideal circumstance in Interlagos. We'll see if it works here though. Timmy very much trying a second soft stint, and so that means he will have to do a medium stint. I believe on a 2-stop he will be doing the mediums at the end of the race. But now Reciter, will he continue on for another lap? It wouldn't surprise me if he did. That means that he's going to have to try and hold on to this position. How much will he fight them, knowing that they're in very much different races at the moment? How much will Reciter fight Stormfly in this one? So still leading, pulls to the inside, goes Stormfly. Stormfly to take the lead of this feature race is continuing on, and in fact it looks like Timmy has managed to start to pull away a bit from Wizard, and he's starting to gain in on Reciter and Stormfly, but Stormfly has very much taken the lead of this race. Timmy's really close on the exit now. Out of turn 1, Wizard looks to get the run through turn 2, and he's actually down the inside at turn 2, which fits the outside for the 3rd corner here, but Wizard backs out of that one because it's not necessarily the best overtaking spot. Running a little wide though is Timmy, and now Wizard's on the outside at turns 4, which turns into turn 5, and Wizard gets a penalty. Timmy, sorry, with the penalty, and he's going to have to take that penalty, which means that Wizard's going to find his way ahead. So Wizard will quite easily find himself clear of Timmy. So S13 then still in second place, but I expect to see him pitting in now, as this is the halfway mark. That will drop him down. The Otter Wizard goes very wide there. I think he just made an error, and I think Stonefly also made an error at the very next corner because Tade's closed down rapidly on him. Timmy's dropped all the way back toward his title rival Vitman G, but Vit has pulled quite some distance over Timmy in the championship now. We're gonna see the top two in this championship battling it out wheel to wheel. Now then, as Vit tries to find his way up into third place, Zabby's had a rather decent race in 7th on the back of Athenium, but will Vit be able to get himself ahead of TGL Timmy? Timmy goes defensive, pits in, so that becomes a battle for third. Vit tries to find the inside line, and he very much does try to find the inside line, and he's very much got the inside line. Will Timmy be able to fight back though? He can just break that a little bit earlier to try and get the cut back, but he doesn't quite go for it, Timmy. Timmy does lose the position to Vitman G there. So Wizard all over the back of Stormfly for what is currently the race lead, but I feel there is a lot of pit stops to come that could change the outcome of this race. But Zabby is having an excellent performance right now. I was saying that typically I don't think he's done as well in the feature races as he's done in the sprint races. Clearly he's a master qualifier, but the feature race has often been his downfall. But it's looking good for Zabby right now. A man who is also, by his own admission, not as good in the feature race as he is in the sprint race is S13. Down in 11th after making his pit stop. Stormfly still leads us, still holds on to Wizard with the lighter car due to less fuel, but he'll be pitting in, if not this lap, within the next couple of laps. But Stormfly just holding on against Wizard, who has got more fuel and more worn tyres, but also softer tyres. So he will have that pace advantage that the softs have or what the mediums have. Stormfly does go on for another lap, but I'm sure by the end, in fact now he's bailed in very late, almost looked like he was continuing, but the flashing light of doom came on and that signalled him to make pit. So Zabby moves all the way with the third, and now Timmy looks like he might be able to lose the position to Timmy. Lose the position to Athenium, and Athenium does get ahead of Timmy, and almost bridged a little bit too late to go for the move on Zabby to get into the top three. Athenium now in 4th and ahead of TGL Timmy. So that moves Athenium up into 4th position. And it looks actually like Timmy's fighting back around the outside at turn 6, and he has tried to get around the outside and he's made it around the outside. It switches to the inside at 7, and now Athenium lost the position. A beautiful move from Timmy around the outside at turn 6. Was very much committed, did not quite manage to hold off there, did Athenium. So Timmy up into 4th position now. Meanwhile, we've got Wizard who's pulling away from Vitman G up into 2nd and Zabby into 3rd. And it looks like they're all similar on fuel. Zabby's got just a little bit more fuel on tyre wear. They're all very similar. In fact, Zabby's tyres might just be that little bit better. Zabby currently holding that fastest lap with the 37.2. We got a couple of laps to go out of the top 3. We'll see when they cross the line. We'll check what laps they set on this lap. So he's lapping just a little bit quicker out of the top 3 at the moment. Got a 37.1 from Zabby, 37.9 from Vit, so a very slower lap on a 37.7. So at the current moment, it is Zabby who is lapping quickest out of the top 3. Zabby purple again though, in 3rd position, purple again in sector 1. with Timmy in 4th place, 5th is Athenium. As we see Napoli and Epic Man not too far apart. Is Epic Man gaining in on Napoli? He is indeed. Is he going to be gaining in enough to make the overtake though? Not quite. Tries to look for a position but not quite finding his way through. Epic Man very much in the slipstream of Napoli. Is Epic Man going to be able to find his way ahead of the Aston Martin driver? No, not quite into turn 10. Doesn't quite get there. But he's very much trying and he's very much close, and we could see him move into turn 1. We've seen so many of those overtakes into the first corner, and we could see another as Melond tries to find his way. He's now on the outside for turn 16, the final corner on the lap. On the outside, doesn't try to hang it around the outside, instead tries to get the run on him in the slipstream of the Super. He's very close to the beginning of the straight, and that's exactly where you want to be at the beginning of the straight. As Wizard pits in, Vit also follows him in, and Melond is also going in the pits, so it's a good thing that Melond was on the inside of Athenium there. Hansa in 4th place then. In 3rd is Athenium, in 2nd is TGL Timmy, and the leader is now Zabi after Wizard's pit stop. We can actually see Zabi pitting in at some point, but he's done a fantastic job. You've got to bear in mind he started at the back of the field, and the red flashing light of doom has appeared on the bottom of his screen, meaning that he will very much want to be pitting in for fuel. Timmy in 2nd place, in 3rd place is Athenium, 4th Hansa, 5th place Napoli and Epic Man. They're both very close to each other, but are they close enough? Will Epic Man be able to make the overtake on Napoli on this occasion? I don't think he will. So Wizard came out of the pits in 7th and ahead of Vitman Jr. It looks like these two are going to be scrapping it out for the race win. Rest on that one-stop strategy, I believe it is. He's not too far behind him. Very much not too far behind his Rest, but will he have the pace to be able to go forward and attack the guys in front of him, or will he try and just hold on to the position with Storm flying behind him? So up front, Zabi pits in, Timmy continues, Athenium's in, Hansa's continued, Napoli is continuing on, it seems, as is Epic Man, and Epic Man still trying to find his way past Napoli now. Will be able to get him. He's in the slipstream, but I don't think he's quite gaining in close enough to make the move, and it's not quite enough for him there now. So Wizard and Vitman. Zabi's coming out the pits in 8th place, just in behind Stormfly, gets the inside that almost went very badly as the pit exit sent Stormfly right onto the inside at the first corner, but he managed to navigate that one. And looking at this battle, Epic Man getting a lot closer to the back of Napoli for that 3rd place position. So Napoli on the back of, Epic Man, sorry, on the back of Napoli heading into turn 10, but still not quite close enough to move. He's been behind him for a lot of this race. Will Napoli be able to just keep holding on? He did a great defensive job in the sprint, and it looks like he's having to do a very similar thing in the feature, holding on against Epic Man in what is currently 3rd, but with the red flashing light of doom on his fuel meter, Napoli will probably be heading toward the pit lane. Epic Man, however, might have to feel for a couple more laps. Timmy, however, is quite the long way ahead. Hansa in 2nd place, and I think he's coming in. Napoli's coming in. Epic Man following in the slipstream, but he took out of the slipstream. No, Epic Man is continuing on into the pits. Wizard then, and Vit will be promoted up into 2nd and 3rd. Zabi getting down the inside of Resite, and he does find his way ahead. Resite into what is now 4th position. So Wizard now 13.4 seconds behind TGL Timmy, who is going to have to come into the pits to do a final few laps. I think he's going to be coming into the pits the next couple of laps. Fresh softs and another penalty for Timmy. He really seems to be struggling with with track limits at the moment. But there seems to be quite the battle going on here as Zabi in 4th place, taking 5th place Epic Stormfly, in 6th. Meanwhile, we've got Hansa, Napoli and Epic Man, who are very close, and Epic Man's managed to jump both Hansa and Napoli in the pit stops. So Epic Man has gone up into 9th, but crucially he's gone ahead of the driver they'd spent so long behind. And that is crucial for Epic Man, who can now try to just go forward in this race and see if he can make any final position gains before we get to the end. It is not over yet. Timmy, I believe, still will have to make just one final stop, but it's going to be like a matter of 5 laps or so, where we've got about 6 laps to go, 5-6 laps to go in this race. It's going to be a final couple of laps on an absolute push from Timmy if he wants to win this race. He's not opting for the pit lane now, though. Not on this occasion. He doesn't quite go for the overtake, the pit stop, as we head on to lap 18. 5 laps left in this feature race. It's been a cracking race so far, and I don't think it's quite over. Timmy's still to make his pit stop, his final pit stop. He's still to run on the medium tyres, of course, as well. So we won't just be able to go on softs and go to the end. So I wonder if he's trying to drag out this stint as long as possible, so that his medium tyre stint is as short as possible. It's an interesting strategy from Timmy, but the question is, will it work? Meanwhile, we watch Zabi and there's Stormfly and Reste all over the back of Stormfly. Not quite close enough for the move into turn 3, so he's not going to try that one. As Reste then, he's all over the back of Stormfly. Can Reste get ahead of Stormfly in these final 5 laps? His tyres are a bit more warm, but he's done a fantastic job of looking after those tyres since he pitted in, because he pitted in about 6-7 laps ago, and they're in pretty good shape, to be honest. He's done a great job at holding on to those tyres so that he can try and just push now at the end. He's got to give everything he can if he wants to move up through the podium into the podium positions. How far will Timmy come down the order? I believe he's in for the pit stop at the end of this lap, which will give him 4 laps on those medium tyres. What can he do on them? Wizard is looking in a good position to take the lead and win this race, but Vitmanji will be coming to get the double. Vitmanji will be coming to get a win this weekend, as he never won the sprint. But a man who will be looking to try and get the double will be Zabi, and if he can get the double as Timmy pits in, if Zabi can keep moving forward and catch up to Vitman and Wizard and overtake them, Zabi will be the first driver, I believe, to get the double this season, to win both the sprint and the feature. It's happened before in ISRL, but not yet this season. So that would be very special if he could do that. So if Zabi could charge through, to do it with the fastest lap as well in this feature. But now Timmy goes into the pits, and he comes out of the pits in 5th, just ahead of Reste. I think he's going to try and come through now. Not quite there. So now Timmy in 5th. He's going to want to try and push and give it everything he's got to move up through the field. The Dutchman is going to be going for it as he runs a little bit wide through turn 3. So he's trying around the outside of turn 4. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. Timmy gets another penalty. Really struggling with track limits in that corner, and it's cost him again. And I think that might just be Timmy's race over now, as Melod in 7th place. So then it seems Vit, who is might be dropping off slightly, just a couple of tenths a lap to what Wizard is setting down. What about Zabi, who's gone actually just a couple of tenths a lap quicker than what Wizard's done. Stormfly is just that bit slower than the top 3, but Zabi is the fastest of the top 3 at the moment, and he's actually gaining in on the top 2 at quite some rate. He's within us. He's got to the 2nd of Vitmanji now. So here he comes toward the main straight now. He's within a 2nd. Unfortunately, this isn't Formula 1, so he's not going to get DRS for it, but he will get the slipstream, and he's going to get quite a bit of slipstream as he moves down the straight toward the first corner. 37.4 from Zabi, really setting the pace down, just 2 tenths off his fastest lap. He's gaining in, but not quite close enough. 3 laps remain. It's very much coming toward the end. Wizard still leads, but Zabi looks quite rapid. That gap does seem to be coming down, actually. Not all too much between Zabi and the race leader, but quite a bit between Zabi and Vitmanji. Can Zabi grab second? This first place in the second, along with the pole and the fastest lap for the feature. That would be quite something for the points tally. Would really get himself, if he can keep this momentum into the final second half of the season, he could very much be on for championship contention, for a late swing in the title race. But we will just have to see, as it's Racer Tear then, who's managed to drop off a long way from Stormfly. TGL Timmy's dropped all the way down to 7th. It's not been the best of days for Timmy. I think this is going to be a weekend to forget. He's going to just want to move on to the next round, I think. Meanwhile then, Wizard still leads, and Zabi is a lot closer on this occasion. He's gaining about 4 tenths from when he was at this point on the last lap. So Zabi is going to get even closer still to Vit, and this time Vit feels the need to go defensive, so he's very much feeling the threat from Zabi there in 3rd place. He's gaining in, he's got the toe down the main straight. Is he going to be close enough? He's gaining in by quite a lot, and he's pulled to the outside because Vit's not showing him the inside. Zabi, is he going to get it around the outside on the penultimate lap? And I think he does. But what about Vitman fighting back? Yes, he does. And then they're side by side in the exit through turn 2, which is a slight kink in the road there. As we then reach into turn 3, Zabi on the inside for turn 3, and he does get ahead and just about stays ahead. Vit though, is Vit looking on the outside? No, not quite. And Zabi holds the inside and manages to take 2nd place, holding the position. Well done. So Zabi now up into 2nd place. He's got 3.7 seconds. Wizard seems to have just turned on a bit of pace, setting his personal best lap. He's responded quite a bit there, and he's gone about half a second quicker than what Zabi did on that last lap. But so I don't know if Zabi's going to have quite the pace to keep up the momentum and go on to win the race, but we'll just have to find out. So then we have, so meanwhile it looks like the race is starting to settle down a little bit. They're all spacing out in terms of gaps. There's some close drivers, but I don't know how close they are and if they're close enough to be making an overtake. And surprise, surprise, Melond and Racer are close to each other on the track again. Told you, every single race I'm fairly certain they've been battling each other. They definitely did it in Interlagos, so they did it in Fuji, they've done it here in Fuji, they were at it in Catalonia, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Vitman G in 3rd place on the back of Zabi, very much close to trying to retake his 2nd place. Is he going to try it around the outside? No, I don't think he will. It's the final lap. So if he's going to get him, he has to get him soon. Vit pulls to the outside, but Zabi doing a great job at holding on to this position now. Vitman and Zabi finished the top 2 in the sprint race. In the feature race, it looks like it's going to be Wizard's time. But Zabi's still trying to just hold on against Vit in this feature race, just to try and finish in that 2nd place and claw some pretty solid points. It would be a good job if Zabi could do it, and it would be quite the points off for Zabi. But Vitman G with the 2nd and 3rd place, still a strong points for Vit. As we see ERT Wizard approaching the line at the final corner. And approaching out of the final corner up toward the flying line and across line to win the feature race. It's Wizard who wins. I believe that's his 1st win of the season. Zabi 2nd, 3rd, Vit very close in the end. Stormfly, a fantastic performance from him. P4, race day just held on to Melond at 5th. Athenium in 7th. 8th place is looking like it's going to be Hansa. Timmy in 9th. 10th Napoli. 11th Epic Man and Hat Maris having a bit of a miserable time. But yeah, Timmy, another driver having a bit of a miserable time, and I think he's just going to want to move on to the next weekend and forget this one happened entirely. But an incredible performance from Wizard to take the victory here at Fuji, and so he will end this round on a high. Moving on to the next one, which is give me a second, as there you go, there's the official announcement as to who won. The next round is at Monza, so that will be next weekend's race, and I hope to see you there. It's been a cracking round as usual here in ISRL, and so I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.